Yeah, sometimes I will make videos people actually want to watch instead of just stuff to get out of my system. Sometimes. I was reading this book called A Handheld History by the gaming book publishing company Lost in Colt. Very, high-end gaming book publishing company, right? And a YouTuber called Retro Dodo. And it's comprised of a dense, 250 or so book cataloging a ton of portable consoles. It's got articles and scans and pictures and such, and essays. Video game books are my favorite niche. If I ever get popular, I'll advertise the fuck out of all of them. Please call me Bitmac Books. I sent in an application. The first essay I read was this personal essay by the game journalist Priscilla Wells. It was called Gaming or Playing as a Woman, in which she covers being able to choose between being a boy and a girl in Pokemon Crystal and what it meant to her. And I thought it was pretty great, very succinct, covered completely in 2 pages. The book altogether is something I would want to write. It's basically a zine. This entire book is like a zine for portable consoles. But that essay in particular reminded me that YouTubers just suck at writing as much as people suck at writing in general. To say something meaningful, you don't need a 2-hour-long video essay. You just need to convey the right emotions, the right meaning. So here's a scripted video I could hammer out before I go to bed. Why play video games? How do you actually play them? What would you want to do? Because they're fun. Video games have always had a place in my life ever since I played Pokemon Pearl as a youngin'. I think they make me happy in the greater sense. I'd feel quite depressed if every game disappeared off the earth right now. I have so many experiences that I consider valuable and even life-affirming at times that I would have just never played if I never played any games, and I just left them all to rot in the Steam library. But my issue is that I, like many, have too many goddamn games. I like collecting games as much like playing them. I also like discussing games, thinking about games, feeling games, touching games, and especially like playing games. So this is kind of me trying to figure out how to do that better. Why listen to me? Because I play video games, lots of them. But if you're watching a YouTube video, do you have the need for an authority figure giving you advice? I don't think so. I don't know, man. Just read a book on it. But why not do something else with my time? Well, games are interactive. They give you an inherently different emotion than watching a movie or reading a book or listening to an album. It sure as hell feels different than doom scrolling and driving back and forth to work my whole life. I think it's just aspiring. I think it's worth aspiring to play new games or replay old games, But how do you play games? Well, here's some tips. Firstly, put that goddamn phone down. What if No, tell them you're busy. Or, more realistically, put it on the other side of the room. Your phone, that is, not the person. And how the hell do you focus on anything valuable if Twitter and Instagram are trying to get your attention? Hell, even TikTok, while that still exists. You need to lock the fuck in. There's no other way to say it. There's no other way to say it. In life, if you want to do something, you have to do it. And putting down your phone to focus on stuff is one of the simplest, easiest ways, to improve your life. Don't believe me? Try it. No, try it. Tell me I'm wrong and stupid after you try it. Other than that, you probably should have a space for gaming. I mean, I honestly prefer dedicated gaming devices, right? Preferably with physical medias like carts or discs or cards, cue cards or whatever the fuck, because they give you enough resistance to focus. Your brain is more engaged, even with the process of switching games when it's more challenging. I was getting a PS4 recently, and cleaning the thing and thermal-pasting it up was a whole, saga, this whole thing. But the coolest part of that is not only do I get to play Bloodborne, but I get all the discs of those Steam games I bought all the time. Well, I get the rebuy games. I get to have a specific console for focusing on games instead of the PC I'm typing this video on and recording this video on right now. Multitask devices are amazing. Don't get me wrong, but they don't let you focus, If you wonder why you can't get immersed into stuff the same way you were as when you were a kid, you probably didn't have something that, beeped and pinged at you, and had 10 other games preloaded on it, and you probably had more time on your hands. And by that call, I need to ask a question. How much time do you have? Well, I can't ask you because, but you need to know for this quest. If you have maybe 2 hours of free time, that's a lot better than having 30 and a lot worse than having 8 hours of free time in terms of the specific thing. But it's all manageable. If you think about what you're doing, you spend your time doing, then it's better manageable. If you want to spend time reading books, you read books in your free time. If you want to play Persona 5, you just play it. If you have kids, it's probably a good idea to get a portable console. If you have kids, you probably want a DS because your midlife crisis is coming up soon, and I might as well get you to an R4 card before Pokemon Platinum gets any more expensive. Portable consoles are my favorite because they can be taken anywhere. They can fit into all the active lifestyles with someone with shit to do. My genuine recommendations are something like something in the Nintendo Switch series or Steam Deck, at least at this point, 2025. The Switch is an average choice because it's cheap. The games are pretty well supported, pretty plentiful. You can just go buy games at a GameStop or something. Sorry, not a GameStop. Amazon, Walmart, whatever. It's a pretty good choice if you want to play the games in whatever way possible. Although I'd get the Switch 2 if that exists when you're watching this. It's probably going to be better in the long term in terms of support. Maybe even has backwards compatibility. I hope it does. The OLED model of the Switch has pretty solid battery life and looks really pretty if you can spare the $50. It's a better investment at the moment. Also, the Switch Lite is like dirt cheap used, and it's more portable, so that's a good option. The Steam Deck is my preferred option because I own like genuinely hundreds of Steam games, and it makes sense to be able to play my massive amounts of fucking library on this one thing. It's very comfortable and very malleable in terms of things you can do on it. You can emulate stuff, play GameCube games on there, Dreamcast or whatever. The bad part is that the battery life is not amazing. It's kind of big, so it's hard to fit into the lunch break kind of deal. But you can also play older games. And it's pretty good quality. Frame rate, so you can play like Borderlands 2 and unlocked 60 frames at max settings. No question. Maybe even 100, maybe even like 90 frames per second. There's the OLED models those are go better. But the only recommendation is don't get the 64 gig model. I know they still have it in there. Don't get it. Do not get it. You'll have to replace the SSD because that's what I had to do. It's not worth it. Unless you just hate yourself, just get the above model. I don't know. They replaced it now, but there are other portables, but obviously those choices fit most people. I could tell you to get a PS Vita, but that's a bad idea. Because I want to keep Vitas off the street. I think that we need to keep Vitas off the street for the children. Be aware, portable consoles influence a certain type of play. I mean, I like playing portable consoles, RPGs on portable consoles, but other people might not. So find out what games you're comfortable playing on consoles versus portables, and so you can decide what you're going to spend your time on. It's very important to be deliberate. Do you take notes? Take some notes. Maybe write down the game queue. It might be a good idea. Will you play Final Fantasy IX before or after playing Resident Evil 4 Remake? Who knows? But making yourself know what games you're looking forward to might help. Do you like finishing games? If you do, play shorter games. Games you're going to finish and love doing it all the way through. The way to play games is to make yourself want to play games, not force yourself. You don't seem to want to force yourself to play YouTube videos. Ask yourself, what genres do I like? What games do I like? What games do I want to play? What games excite me? Like a Excite Bite. You have to know what you want to play and what your brain will love spending time on at that very moment. I, for one, like playing games where I play as cute anime women and stuff like that, but that's not your prerogative, is it? Why would I waste my time playing StarCraft if I don't like RTS games? Of course, there's nothing wrong with broadening your horizons and trying out new genres. That's a type of play too. I frequently go through NES ROM sets and fuck around, but that's a different type of vibe than trying to play through Kingdom Hearts Final Mix, Be deliberate. Do you like multiplayer, single-player games? The multiplayer games. If you like multiplayer games more and you want to play more single-player games, you got to find a day or some time you can switch between them. If you play Overwatch nonstop, it'll drive you fucking insane. Because if you play Overwatch at all, it'll drive you fucking insane. Play like Elden Ring or something if you want to break it up. You're not gonna go platinum in Overwatch or fucking Apex. Give it a rest. If you haven't played a game in a long time, restart it. No, genuinely, restart the game from the very beginning. Don't fumble through the file if you don't want to. Restarting and locking in will probably be a better way to play through it than pausing halfway through. Imagine starting Pulp Fiction and watching like 1 hour in and then turning it off and then coming back and watching the rest randomly 2 months later. Fuck that. No. Just play a game to a point where you're going to get to a satisfying point in it. You're allowed to get bored. Just don't leave a game for 2 years and pretend you're going to finish it. Stop doing that. I would say stop buying games, but I think it's more of a psychological issue than an effort one, so I won't blame you on that. You're a good person. You don't deserve that insult. Be efficient with your time. If you're struggling and using days doing the same boring thing, just look up a walkthrough, man. Just look up a walkthrough. Who gives a shit? Genuinely. You'll die eventually, presumably of heart disease or a car accident, so why spend your precious days going through a dumb section of a game you don't like without a guide with fake gamer points, If you're playing like Phantasy Star, just look up the walkthrough. Look up a goddamn map, all right? Don't play with me. And again, play shorter games. Hell, even replay games if you want. No problem with that as long as you enjoy it. It might even help in the long term with a run of a series or other games in the future. Hell, I've played Cave Story 20 times through, front to back, even the true ending sometimes. Play games with other people. Sometimes you want to play a single player game as a group, as in everyone plays their own copy of Pokemon in your race, or play it in a group as everyone plays Borderlands with you, or play it in a group as everyone watches you play Undertale in a Discord VC and laughs at your impression of Sans the Skeleton. It's all chill. And you have to ask yourself, what games have you played in the past all the way through? You have to have a North Star of why you play these games in the first place. What is your favorite game of all time? What game has made you cry? What game has gotten you through a hard time or make you want to make a game? You have to have something to push you towards the medium rather than like cooking classes or something or selling drugs. My North Star is probably Final Fantasy VII. I just like thinking about it. I mean, honestly, I think about the characters a lot too. I like thinking about everything about that game because it makes me just smile, like like a kid, like a dumb kid, like the kid I am. Luckily for me, I'll never run out of Final Fantasy VII to go around. But for other games I love, there'll never be that same taste again. Hideo Kojima will never make another Snatcher game as much as I beg and plead. It's just not happening. But playing more games will give you that chance to have new experiences, to have more delicious tasting cooking from that surprisingly capable North Star. Find your reason to play games. Find new games you'll love and are curious about based on that North Star. I want to end this with the most important way of playing games, the most important habit you can get into. Get into a routine. I like to imagine every Japanese salaryman in the late 1980s used to go home and turn on their Famicom and make their way through Dragon Quest games and other RPGs. Those 80s RPGs were like absolutely brutal. Maybe not Dragon Quest specifically, but they were brutal. Maybe Dragon Quest 2, but they are brutal. If you allocate your time right, you can beat any challenge as long as you're bored enough. There are people who can literally beat Bloodborne blindfolded. You can play New Vegas if you put time into it. But yeah, those are some tips on playing games. I wrote this in about an hour, and I'm listening to the Velvet Underground right now. The song I'm on is Run and Run. That is right when I was writing the script, not right now as I'm recording the voiceover, because the voiceover, I'm not listening to anything. I'm listening to my own voice. And I have work tomorrow. I also can allocate my time poorly. Hopefully you got something out of this. Thanks for watching. Bye.